What is good, everybody? I hope everybody is doing well, fine, and fantastic. I hope everybody's doing well, fine, and fantastic. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Please make sure that you hit that like button. I often forget to say that. Hit the like button. I say this all the time. I think that if you watch anybody's videos more than halfway, um, hit the like button or hit the dislike button. If you're hate watching, hit the dislike button. That counts too. So, but hit the like button and all that. So I'll try to remember to leave my email and all that in the section or at the end or somewhere along the lines here when I'm editing this out. Ooh. When I'm editing this out to ensure that we are all getting what we need to get, and I'll try to make sure I leave my email and all that in the comment section. So if you want to reach out to me for a one-on-one session or things along those lines, then we can do that and all that. So I want to have a business talk today. Well, let me first start with this. So I'm on my way to an event at one of the schools that I teach at, because they're having somebody who's going to speak from a national radio, and they were alma mater of the school, and they're going to talk about it's like a fireside chat to talk about the election. So I'm going to release this after the election. So if the election didn't go the way that you wanted it to go, then it's your fault. Right? If you didn't vote, I should say. If you didn't vote, did you vote? If you did vote, did it go the way you wanted and all that? So I'm sure that I probably will have already released a video about my thoughts about the incoming election results. I don't know where they are. I'm recording this in October, so I won't know what it is. But this reminds me because I'm on my way to this event where the fireside chat is going to be, and my best friend just said he's standing in line to go over to vote. He's doing the voting early things. So make sure that I hope that you went out there and voted. All right, so let's talk about business a little bit. So sometimes I get some ideas from different clients or that I have and things along those lines. So I had a conversation with the young lady, and we're talking about business. The idea or the conversation about business popped up, and she gave me some ideas to talk about concerning why, unfortunately, we as African American people, are not necessarily as productive and all that as we should be. And I'm making this video to get us to think about some things and try to change our direction about how we view the world. So the first thing, I laid out 3 things and I wrote it down, and of course I left it in the house. So I want to talk about leadership. Gosh, it was leadership and backbones. And I can't remember the third one. It's really going to bother me. Well, hopefully as we talk, we'll talk about it. So this is in no particular order of importance, but one thing you got to show in leadership, in business, is you got to show a backbone. And I'm making this mostly for the men. Of course, ladies understand a little bit of this, but if you want to be a man, you got to be successful. You want to be successful in being a man, number one, and be successful in any type of business venture that you want to do, then you have to establish yourself as a leader. You have to lead and guide your home, right? This is a biblical principle for all you biblical scholars out there who, if a man, what is it? A man has to be able, if a man can't lead his own home, he can't lead the house of God. I think that's what, under the qualifications of the bishop and the deacon, according to the book of 1 Timothy. I think I'm remembering that right. Right? So, you got to get out there and work. You got to get out there and be qualified to lead your own home. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say as far as there was 3 principles I want to talk about. So first of all, again, is leadership. You got to be able to show leadership. You got to be able to lead your home. And if you want people to follow you, you want a woman to come under your protection, leadership, guidance, partner up, however you view the world, then you have to show some type of ability to do the things that she is asking for to be done. If a woman is already working, supplying her own stuff and bossing up and got her education, what value do you have to bring to her life? And you have to bring value. You cannot be dragging her down and holding her back and and impeding her upward mobility, right? Particularly if she's a woman who's on her game. So you better bring some leadership skills, and you better have something of importance to actually offer. The next thing is a big thing is you got to have a backbone. Now this is easier said than done, I think, a lot of times, because I'm trying to remember some landmarks here. This is easier said than done because I think a lot of times here's a big problem that I think that we really have to conquer in the African American community, because I think about this. Like, why are we not, corporately business minded? And I'm not saying this to sound pejorative. I realize that it may sound that way, but I'm really not meaning it to be that way. And I'm not saying that we don't have that ability. I'm just saying that there's been some inhibitors on our path. And part of the inhibitors on our path have been our own niceness. Being in the corporate world requires a certain level of cutthroatness and ruthlessness. It's just the way that it is. You have to be willing to undercut someone. I don't know if I'll be able to find the interview, but 50 Cent said this, right? He talks about his life in the streets and all this kind of stuff. But he said when he's sat in those corporate offices with these Caucasian men cutting deals, he had no idea what ruthless meant. So you think these guys out here shooting you over their block and their territory and all this kind of stuff? But these people are out here making ruthless decisions. And this is, some people would say that this is actually what got, some of the more prominent black heroes in modern times offed. Yeah, freaking truck is driving on the wrong side of the street. Including Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, even now Diddy. I don't know. I'm not there. But this is what is swirling around. That these people have stuff and they got stuff. And when you start talking about taking your labels back, and these people are playing the long game. They're playing the long game. Playing the long game. It's okay. They'll give you $100,000 today, but they're making $1 billion tomorrow, and the next day. Think of the long game. So that's one thing we got to develop. It's this niceness and refusal to be cutthroat as those people. I'm going to try to put up a screenshot of a friend of mine. He put up a post the other day. He owns a farm. A friend owns a farm. And so he sells his crops to local farmers, like a food pantry kind of thing. So they give him money for his crops, and they sell it to homeless people. Some kind of deal he has where he's helping homeless people with his crops. So he does it for his own sanity, mental health, and also to make a few extra dollars. But a lot of it is just to be a good person. This isn't about that. But I'm saying that when he does sell it to individuals, and he sold to me, like sometimes I like to eat fresh vegetables and stuff, and he doesn't put any chemicals. So I'm like, hook me up with a bushel or a box of stuff. He put something together for me. I go over and pay him for it. So he put up a screenshot that I'll put up here, if I can find it, saying that just because you're a black-owned business doesn't mean things are on discount, or it's cheap, or it's bad. So he's giving professional service. What he's saying is you got to give professional service. You have to be professional, give good quality, and in return, you as the buyer should not be expecting a discount. That's huge. So it's this niceness that we have because a lot of us grew up poor. A lot of us grew up in a certain way. We had issues and concerns, and we didn't have things, and we know what it was like to go without. And so therefore, because we have something today, we don't want to penalize other people who are coming after us and put them in a box or or tax them financially. So we're often too nice to these people who are our friends, And the point of the post was you can't think that way. The point of what I brought about 50 Cent is you got to think ruthlessly, cutthroat. You gotta think this way. You got to develop a backbone. You have to develop a backbone. So leadership, to recap, I can't think of the third one. It's really bothering me, but I can't stand when I leave stuff home. I should have put it on my phone, but I didn't. So the first one is develop leadership, right? You got to have a vision. You got to be directed, guided, have a vision, know where you want to go, know what it's going to take to get there, have a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10-year plan. So you got to have a vision. I just had a great banter back and forth with the Red Sox, man. So you got to have a vision. You got to know where you're going, how you're going to get there, 1 year, 2 year, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. And you got to be motivated to get there, right? And you got to show consistency. You got to show consistency in what you're doing and all that. So you got to be able to show consistency with what you're trying to do and what you're doing and all that. So, and then you got to have a backbone. You got to have a backbone. You got to be able to tell people no. One of the greatest words in the English language is the ability to tell people no, I can't do it, this, that, and the other. I can't. I'm busy. It's not going to fit into my schedule. You just got to be able to tell people no. And that's developing a backbone. And that means if you're going to be in the business world, that means you have to, number one, tell people no, be able to fire people, be able to hire people, be able to tell people that they're not working out, be able to tell people, listen, I tried your services, but I'm going to go with a different company. I tried this and we're going to do something differently. And that takes some level of huevos. It takes some huevos in order to do that. And so you got to develop that ability. And then of course, I'll leave this off with brains. So I can't remember the third one. I can't remember the third one that I had written down. So anyway, so we'll lead off with those two, right? So work on your leadership skills and your abilities in your home, out of your home. When you're working for somebody else, develop that ability to set a plan, to set a vision, to be able to stick to it, to be able to tell people no, and all this type of thing. And then you got to develop a backbone. And none of this is easy. Listen, I tell my story in the earlier videos that I put together about this was a struggle for me. I became a sergeant at 27 years old, supervising people who had been police officers for 30 years. Think about what I just said again. I'm 27 years old. I'm going to now walk into a situation where I had to tell a man, a grown man who has been a cop longer than I've been alive, been a police officer longer than I've been alive for 30 years, that the report isn't right, this is wrong, that's wrong. That was an incredibly uncomfortable situation for me to have experienced and to have gone through. So I'm making a lot of this content because of the stuff that I went through and the mental development that I had to put myself through in order to get to where I wanted to be. So you got to develop that backbone, and it took me a long time. I don't think that, to be honest with you, I think it took me a long time, and I probably was in the late stages of my career as a lieutenant and then captain to really develop what I would consider a backbone. When I look back at my career, I'm like, oh man, I need to work on this, I need to work on that, I needed to develop this. And listen, we had leadership trainings and development, but a lot of it is internal self-talk. A lot of it is internal self-processing. A lot of it is how we look at and view ourselves. That's what a lot of it is. And if you're looking at yourself and you're inhibited by your past, by the way that you grew up, by the way that your parents talk to you, by the poverty level that you have, by your all these different factors, they influence a lot about how you see yourself and how you project into the world. And the reason that some people come off as angry, bitter, mad, resentful, shy, bashful. There's all childhood traumas, childhood trainings, and all this kind of stuff. But their inability to lead, their inability to have a backbone, is often coupled with that. And sometimes people can have such a backbone that it becomes off in a negative way, right? So that's another thing that people really have to develop, is that ability to tell people no, but still be nice about it, right? And that's another skill in and of itself, because as a college professor, like, I got to tell people that their papers are garbage. I got to tell you that, right? But I got to be nice about it. I mean, I'm obviously talking in a more assertive way right now, but when I'm writing students that this is wrong, that's wrong, right? I can't hurt their little feelings. I can't hurt their little feelings, Can't. I gotta let them know that this paper that you handed in is like 7th grade work. And I'm teaching college classes. What is this? What's going on here? So you got to have that ability. You got to have that ability when you're in these positions, when you're walking into the world, in order to let people know things without letting them know it. And I'm not saying without letting them know it, but you got to tell people things without hurting their feelings and having them run to the dean, or having them run to the boss, or having them run to this and want to fire people and have you in HR and all this kind of stuff, right? That takes tact. And some people have it and some people don't, but it can be developed. It certainly can be developed. So you can have a backbone, and you can make some moves and make some changes, but it's going to take work. It's going to take effort and all that. So I wanted to drop that because the young lady and I had a nice conversation, and it was definitely something that needed to be said, and she was dealing with a situation, and it just came up that the development of leadership skills in the home, out the home, and on the job are essential and vital, and you have to develop a backbone. Think about all of the professional ball players, particular African American ball players, who go broke when they retire. They go broke because they spent too much money, they had no discipline, and they went broke because they were too nice in giving all their stuff away. Buying this one a home, buying that one a home, paying off my boys, doing this, doing that, being leached off of left and right. And then sooner rather than later, sooner or later, they hit this wall where all the money is gone, right? The fountain, and particularly when you retire, ends up going dry. And so you haven't done right. You want to buy everybody this. You want the big ball and not save your money. Buy the flashiest cars and the biggest houses and the vacation house. You get two baby mamas with 5 kids, or 5 baby mamas with 10 kids, or whatever craziness they're doing, right? Because they're being too nice. They haven't developed a backbone to tell people, no, I can't buy everybody a house. I'm not paying off anybody else's debt. I'm not celebrating this. I'm not buying all these different golds and jewelry and being iced out. You got to be able to tell people no. You got to develop a backbone. You got to develop a backbone. And in particular, when we're talking about the business sense, business world, you have to develop a backbone about how you're going to negotiate business, how you're going to treat people, how you're going to maintain your standards and not lower your quality or give away things for free because somebody is of the same skin complexion. You have to develop that skill and that ability. All right, I got someplace to be. I got to be at this fireside chat. So I appreciate you all listening. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. If there's anything else you want me to talk about, I would be certainly more grateful to talk about it. Just hit me up in the email and all that, and I'll talk to you again. Much love and peace.